up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. I'm Derek. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that is filled with honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in, we've got a full house tonight, so I'm going to bring in my sis, Kate. Kate, how you doing this evening?
I'm so good, Derek. How are you?
Doing very, very well. Enjoyed a 3-day weekend. So,
woo!
Next, we have got Pete. Pete, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I did not enjoy a 3-day weekend. I dug out from 22 inches of snow yesterday.
Gotcha. Did you ever find your snow shovel, by the way?
No.
Ooh.
But I bought one.
Yeah, even better. Next, we have Rebecca. Rebecca, how's your evening going?
I'm freezing, but I'm good. So happy to be here.
Awesome. And last and certainly not least, we have Sam. Sam, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, you guys. It's good to see all of your faces, even though I just saw a few of you on Sunday night, just 2 days ago.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And the whole crew.
Yeah, and we've got Steve with us. He says, hi,
Steve.
Platooners.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah. Kate, what have we got for the Disney Plus news this week?
It is time for the Disney Plus news. First of all, casting for the D Plus series, the Disney Plus series, National Treasure has been announced, with Lizette Alexis playing the lead character of Jess. Second up, Marvel has released a Moon Knight trailer. The series will feature Oscar Isaac, who is Poe from Star Wars, as the superhero. The show will premiere March 30th. And number 3, in the world of Star Wars, Ming-Na Wen pulled a Tom Holland, or spread all of the spoilers, and revealed that there will be a Bo-Katan series coming starring Katie Sackhoff. No other information is available, but this is not news that was supposed to get out. Spoilers. Number 4, the Mighty Ducks Game Changers will be shooting season 2 in February. Likely wrapping by June. Emilio Estevez will not be returning from this season, which we told you a while ago, but the rest of the cast is expected to be there. Next up, the trailer for The Wonderful Winter of Mickey Mouse was released today. This will premiere on February 18th and is a collection of new winter-themed Mickey Mouse cartoons. And last but certainly not least, from the world of Do We Really Need More of That Story? Tim Allen has been confirmed as reprising his role in a Santa Claus series coming this winter to Disney Plus. Back to you, Derek.
And I would say the answer is no, we really don't need more of that story.
You know, I do enjoy the Santa Claus movies, other than that last one. That last one was pretty bad, but I liked the first couple of them. So I enjoy me some Tim Allen as Santa Claus.
Yeah, the first one was fine. I'm assuming in this one maybe he's going to pass on the mantle to
Charlie.
To his son. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, the first one was actually good, but I don't really need a sequel to it.
Yeah. Vicky says the Moon Knight trailer looks so good. I will say it looked a little dark for Disney Plus, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was going to come to Hulu because just it looks, and the trailer doesn't make you realize that he's a good guy. So it's going to be real interesting in the stories. And Gina says she's so excited for the Bo series. So I have a feeling that's probably going to come. That'll probably be 23 when that shows up. So guys, if I had to guess, we'll go Moon Knight and then Obi-Wan. So we'll see how that ends up. But
I'm excited that Oscar Isaac is getting to be the star of that because he's great. I loved him, and I loved him as Poe.
Yeah. So this week, our main show we watched was The Eternals. And we're going to go with our resident Marvel fan, Rebecca, down there. Was it an eternal classic or seemingly endless?
I definitely think I'm going to be the lone soldier for this movie. For me, Eternal Classic. That's the positive version. It was wonderful. I was intriguingly asking my fiance questions throughout the whole thing, which is my form of excitement when watching movies. I the only thing I had to say was that was a lot of new characters to be introduced to in one movie. But then like some of them died, some of them are mortal now, so you don't really need to know those ones. I don't think. Who knows? It's Marvel, will do whatever they want. But I think that they're not important. The only character that I didn't like was Sprite, and she's not relevant anymore, I don't think. She wasn't one of the 3 pulled back at the was that the end credit scene or just the last scene? I think it was just the last scene.
The last scene, yeah.
And we know that she's immortal now, so she's going to age and grow and, have her time. I'm assuming that means she has no powers anymore, so I don't see how she would be worth anything. But I really did enjoy it. I thought that, I mean, she's not worthless, but like
Ouch.
in the face of an Eternal,
Not
she's
worth
not anymore.
anything.
Not worth anything anymore.
But I really did like it. I thought the Ikaris being the villain kind of came from like the back of my head. Like I did not expect it to happen until he started talking about, what is the main girl?
Ajax.
Sersi.
Sersi or
Ajax,
Ajax?
yes. Until he started talking about Ajax, and I was like, oh, he killed her because he wanted, we always thought that he was envious of not being the leader for the Eternals and getting to lead that group. But I honestly didn't see, because of his love for Sersi and his just overall connection with her, I didn't see him being the one to turn on everybody. I thought the powers were cool. We had some new ones with the eye lasers. That was interesting. Her being able to like basically change states of matter, I thought was pretty cool. That's one that I've never seen. I think that Sersi may be a new powerful, like one of the more powerful Avengers now. We don't know the extent of her powers. I'm just gonna stop talking because everything I say, Derek has a face for it, and so I think that I'm just gonna. I'll leave it. I liked it. Sam, what do you think?
Okay, this was eternal. Oh no, I mean it went on for an eternity. This movie, so I'll start there. It was too long. My second complaint, too many characters. I don't remember all of their names because we met too many characters. And my third complaint is there's too many different groups happening, right? We had Eternals, and we also had Deviants, then we also had the Celestials, like just too many different layers for me. It was like too complicated and convoluted in its plot and in its character development to the point where I didn't feel like I really cared that much about the main character, which in my opinion was Sersi. I just didn't really get to know her enough. And other movies that we've had and I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm wearing my Avengers shirt. Like, I just felt like we didn't get to know Sersi because we had all of these other characters. I will say there were a couple of parts and a couple of characters that I did really enjoy. Phaetos, I thought him and his family and how he like has to say Phaetos.
Fastos.
Sorry, Fastos. Thank you. See, I can't even keep their names straight because there's too many of them. But Fastos, because his storyline with his family and how he leaves them to help try and save the world, right? That to me was very touching, and I appreciated that storyline. I thought it was great. I also think, Rebecca and I always point this out, but representation matters. We had a Black gay man with his husband and his son, and so that was really nice to see in the MCU. And the other character that I actually really liked, I think, he's supposed to be the red herring villain. which is Druig, right? So Druig is the one who has the mind control capability. And I say he's the red herring villain is because from the start, he's kind of seen as like the bad one or on kind of the black sheep because he wants to control the minds of the mortals so that they won't kill each other and fight each other. I actually thought his storyline was quite relatable. Like if you could stop people from, having war and killing each other, how bad would that be? Of course, we don't want mind control. But anyway, I in general was not a fan of this movie. It's the first Marvel movie since Dark World, Thor Dark World, that I haven't liked, that I don't want to watch again. I feel, I'm kind of disappointed because I was looking forward to, maybe a new group of superheroes like Eternals maybe could be the next sort of group of like Avengers, but it was a big fail in that respect. It just really did not hit the mark on character development, on the plot, on just all across the board. And the ending went on for at least a half hour too long. Sorry, I'm going on for probably a half hour too long at this point. So I will pass it to my brother from another mother, Derek.
So I'm known as the resident Marvel hater within the group, right?
Right.
Lately, my reviews have kind of been near middle of the road. I haven't minded a couple of the ones we've liked lately, but it's time for me to live up to my reputation. So buckle up. Not only was this movie seemingly endless, I never thought it would die. It was like a wounded animal that should have been taken out behind the barn at the halfway point. I knew I was in trouble when the opening crawl was longer than Star Wars and was packed with info that was needed. Why did they focus on that knife in the first 10 minutes when it was never seen again? The telegraphing of Ikaris to me was obvious enough that I told Pete and Gina on Sunday, after only watching the first 20 minutes, that the bad guy was going to be Ikaris.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and I kept my mouth shut because I had already watched and didn't want to spoil it, but you had watched 20 minutes and figured it out. I will say I had suspicions, but I wouldn't say I was for sure figuring it out. Brian figured it out, but he always figures that stuff out.
I was more with Rebecca. I didn't really, it didn't surprise me per se, but like I didn't really see it coming, but I wouldn't say it was an excellent twist or anything.
I will also say I'm a huge mythology fan. I get that the names are the ones from the comics, but it was distracting to me that the names were just slightly different from the actual Greek gods and goddesses. And then to have the original myths thrown away as the stories that Sprite told the humans to try to explain us. Such a cop-out. Most importantly, though, it glossed over any kind of in-depth personal development because it had so many characters that you didn't really connect with any of them. Now, some may argue it made $400 million. I would argue Marvel could buy the documentary Jane, rebrand it as a Pepper Potts origin story, and make at least $300 million. I also don't appreciate being threatened by Marvel and Disney. They told us the Eternals are going to be returned. That's not something I need. It set up Dark Knight, but that's all it did. This is not a good movie. Skip it. Kate?
Okay, my turn. All right. Well, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't vehemently hate it. Of course, I was very confused. It had wonderful nods to Game of Thrones. So I was here for the Game of Thrones actors. Hello, King of the North. Hello, Rob Stark. Like, okay.
But didn't that make it more confusing? And then Sersi?
Oh, and then Sersi, yeah. So that caught my attention right away. Because I could watch Kit Harington all day. Thank you very much.
You just didn't get to.
I really had high hopes for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was confused, Kate. And that says a lot because I'm always confused, Kate. But it kept like I would be watching and like because Ryan and I actually watched this at the same time. And Rebecca, I kept asking a lot of questions too because I was like, wait a second, hang on. I thought she was dead. Oh, wait, we're back in time. I didn't catch that. Oh, this was during World. Oh, okay. I didn't catch. So I think I didn't hate it. It was not as bad as Thor Dark World or Underworld or whatever that train wreck was.
Agree.
I will echo what Rebecca said about some of the really cool powers that came out. I dug that. And I think this is going to be a movie that we don't realize that it is setting up other movies.
See, I think that's the only reason they made it.
But I think this is going to be a movie that 3 years from now, 2 years from now, we'll go back and rewatch this and be like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I hope so. And the comedic relief. To echo Ryan's point.
What comedic relief?
Oh my God.
No.
No. Are you serious?
Relief? I'm serious. What was funny?
Oh,
you had the
I didn't think it was that funny.
I don't know. I don't know who the Indian
Kingo?
Yes. Is it his assistant?
The ballet.
Oh my God, that was
Kingo was funny. His character was funny.
To me, it was an overused stereotype. To me, it was an overused stereotype that wasn't that funny.
Okay.
Oh, see, I laughed. It wasn't as funny as Ragnarok, but it did have. It made me chuckle in certain.
It wasn't as funny as the original Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it made me chuckle in certain places. So, Pete, what about you?
Boy, I could talk about this one for a while too, because I am usually very positive with Marvel, but I'm going to start with what I liked about the movie. Very beautiful, very, very well shot. It looked very nice. The actors were all none of them were bad actors, and I did like seeing such a diverse cast. I thought that was great. Okay, that's probably all I got positive to say. This movie, I was also I texted everybody and said, and in our message chat, and I said, I'm confused, Kate, in this movie. Not that I didn't figure it out as it was going, but my wife and I were like, okay, now who's this? What is going on? So I wasn't bored by the movie, and so I guess it kept my attention. So I guess that's a little bit of a positive. But some movies, after you watch it, you think about it and you like it more and more. I was the opposite, because as I thought about this movie, there were so many things in it that just didn't make sense. The whole knife thing. I know some people say, Sprite stabbed Sersi with it at the end. I don't think that was the same knife. That wasn't the same knife. That knife never came back. And there were lots of things like that. Like, one of the things I absolutely hated was when I think it was Ikaris is telling Sprite, or no, I'm sorry, it was whoever was telling Sprite, or whoever was telling Sersi, Sprite's in love with Ikaris.
Yeah.
And like they use the Peter Pan analogy to say that, she's Tinkerbell. I'm like, how can you not show that at any point in this movie? We're an hour and a half into this movie, and you don't show that at any point. You just tell us.
Right. Where was the pining? You couldn't see the pining.
That's bad writing, is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Kingo, in my opinion, was the best character in the movie. He's barely in the first half hour of it. He just kind of stands in the background a lot. Then he shows up. He's actually funny and entertaining and everything like that. And they get to the end and he's like, I can't take sides. I'm out. And
I hated that too, Pete.
You would think, like, admittedly, this would be, kind of typical. You would think he would then show up at the end on the side of good and then fight. No, he's just gone. So I don't get this movie. There's so many things in it that don't make sense to me. And even the like celestial in the planet thing, it's like, does everything take place on Earth? I mean, didn't this what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because Ego was a celestial too, I think. wasn't he?
I mean, why couldn't he blow up Jupiter? It was the bigger planet.
Right. It's like, I was like, energy.
Something about the population. Something
right.
about
Energy from the humans. Yeah. And even like, we don't interfere. All you did in the past was interfere. Yeah. You didn't interfere in the wars, but like you gave technology and you did all these things. And it's like, oh, but we can't interfere. But you've been interfering for 6,000 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did not like this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca. You and I are usually very, very copacetic on Marvel movies, and this was not for me.
Yeah. Gina is also one that couldn't get into it. Too many characters, too many times and places. Did this have to take 2.5 hours to tell? No. Holly says she liked the Eternals more than she thought she would, but agreed there were a lot of characters and it was hard to be invested in so many characters.
I do think it would have benefited from 3 or 4 less characters.
Yeah.
I really do think it would have benefited from that, because it could have also been shorter.
Yeah. Steve says he felt if he walked in midway, it would be like a movie trying to be a Marvel movie. I can see that. See that. Yeah.
You mean it was a DC movie?
No, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, that was good.
I just got to poke those DC people.
That was pretty good. Nick says he must be immortal because he lived through the movie. Just kidding. It was a slow burn, but enjoyed the end. Okay. Steve, we've already talked about how no, that wasn't the same knife because it wasn't the same color. So Dan says, thought it was entertaining, humor, and action. If you go into it wanting to be entertained, you probably were. But if you're expecting some masterpiece, you were probably disappointed. I was actually looking forward to this movie, guys. I really wanted this movie to be good. I promise I did. So, Kate, Vicky liked your Rob Stark for the wind. Ryan says he's firmly in the middle of liking, disliking, but boy, was it a long movie, which is ironic because it was at least half an hour shorter than Spider-Man.
It was?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not time necessarily. A good movie can be that long.
But you mean the newest Spider-Man?
The newest Spider-Man, yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Because it's not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and I said Ryan says comedic relief was one of more of the redeeming parts. We talked about that. Boy says, Derek, when did you become so funny? The Jane line might be your best work. Thank you very much. Dan says there were a lot of funny parts. Willie says Kingo's assistant was hilarious. His line about being biased after chanting "Save the Human Race" was also awesome.
Yeah, I liked his character too.
Ryan says the movie was just too big. A lot of stuff I wanted to see more of, but it would have been even longer. Willie said, Becca and I talked about another potential purpose of the movie may redeem Thanos as not such a monster if he knew that's what was going on. Eros is his brother and an Eternal as well. And I can see a scene later down the road where we see a younger Thanos telling his brother he has to take half the population to prevent the ending of Earth.
I don't think that's at all Thanos' motivation.
I don't see it there at all. But anyway.
I think it'll be interesting to see how Eros plays in, though, to whatever the next movie or series is.
But they've got to tell him to do a barrel roll.
So I found this out, and usually, like, Derek is the one that pulls out this tiny bit of trivia. But so the last scene there with Kit Harington, where he's going to touch the sword and probably turn into Black Knight. I think it's Black Knight.
Black Knight.
Dark Knight. Black Knight. No, it's Black Knight.
Dark Knight is Batman.
Black Knight. Sorry, Black Knight.
But
I am Batman.
The voice you hear that says, "I don't know if you want to do that," is Blade.
Right, but aren't we going to see Eros? The guy from One Direction. We're going to see him.
Harry
also.
Styles.
Thank you, Harry Styles. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. We're going to see him. He was in the first end credit scene, not the second end credit scene.
Right.
Well, I would imagine if there's another Eternals movie, he would be in it.
And probably fairly featured.
But he's Thanos' brother. That's what Willie's comment was talking about.
I think Rebecca has things she would like to say.
Yes. We should let her defend.
Okay, Rebecca, rebuttal.
I'm chewing on my tongue over here. It's so hard. Okay. So I will say, going into this movie, I was only looking for Harry Styles. I kind of was I had seen, pictures of him in costume and stuff, and so I was looking for it. He never showed up, and I was like, he has to be in the end credit scene. Then this weird troll thing pops out, and starts explaining to him, and I was like, oh my god, here he comes. He's gonna be so important in the next movie, and I can't wait. And then he is, guys. Obsessed. I love it. But I think that what Willie said earlier, stealing my thunder, I can see Marvel trying to do that. I can see, I mean, I think there were ulterior motives for Thanos, but I do think that that is going to be an important storyline to understanding Eros. He's going to help the Eternals get to get the rest of their friends back. And so I think that he's trying to be a good influence, so he probably knows that this is what happens to Earth. So Thanos gets the idea, becomes power crazy, hunger crazy, whatever the thing is, right? And then just he's going to do it regardless of how the other Eternals feel about the humans on Earth.
Well, if he does it, though, it doesn't have to do with Earth. It has to do with the whole universe, right? So it would be, if you want to redeem Thanos, it's going to be like he's trying to save the universe from these Celestials. I think it's possible that that's a plot line they'll go down. I hadn't thought of that, Rebecca. I think it's possible. But I agree with you that Eros is going to play an important role in whether it's another Eternals movie or another movie. Like, I think Eros is going to end up being an important character.
And I will agree with you guys on part of it that we didn't get to develop a lot of Sersi as a character, but I thought what Angelina Jolie's character Thena went through in this movie was extremely powerful, because it kind of played a bode to trauma and trying to overcome triggers and, losing that mental stability that she had with Gilgamesh. That Gilgamesh dying was like the hardest one for me because I felt deeply for the two of them. And so watching her kind of overcome that trauma at the end of the movie was more impactful than Sersi, turning the Celestial into stone. And every time that I look at these movies, how did it make me feel? How was I emotionally impacted by the movie? And I will say that because of how Angelina Jolie played her character, there's a scene where she's standing behind the tree and she's feeling this trigger come on and she's just ticking like this. She's smacking her face because that's where she's feeling it the most. And I relate to that. I sit there and pick at my nails, or I'll bite on my lip, or I have these things to kind of make me distract myself from whatever is bothering me at the moment. And so it was really, I thought, powerful to see someone, and Angelina Jolie of all actresses, to go through a stature like that was really awesome. And this movie just made me feel things. It made me feel excited and happy. Sure, there wasn't the best fight scenes. Like Willie also mentioned this earlier. How is Ikaris's eye powers not strong enough to kill the deviants, but it is strong enough to fight off all other 4 Eternals at one time? So none of it really none of it stayed like equal, I guess. Like there were just times where it worked and it didn't. But overall, the movie made me feel something. And so that's why I liked it so much.
Okay. So you brought up an interesting point where which side, as far as which side would you be on? So, Sam, are you Team Sersi or are you Team Ikaris? Which way are you going on this one?
This is a no-brainer, you guys. You have got to be Team Sersi because you have got to want to save humanity, okay? I don't care about these Celestials. We live on Earth. So if you're going to be at all selfish, you're Team Sersi. That's all I have to say.
And I'm Team Ikaris.
What?
But with qualification that
here's my shocked face.
No, except I need a lot more information. I need to know, why is this planet so much more special than any of the planets that have been killed beforehand? The millions of planets they've already destroyed. Why is this planet so much more special, other than the fact that it's where the movie is shot? Yes, they're humans, but why is that more important than other species that have been obliterated?
Because we stopped Thanos.
So
right. And the rest of the MCU wants
Nobody
to
else
live
stopped
here,
Thanos.
right?
Right. And what about the species and civilizations that will never exist because of not destroying Earth? With the information I have, I got to go Team Ikaris. And I want to add one thing, that while you never see it spelled on screen, the spelling, to change the spelling from the traditional names of the gods is slightly infuriating to me as a mythology person. But, okay. Kate.
Okay, well, this is a hard question for me because I am Team Robb Stark. From Game of Thrones. So in that aspect, I'm Team Robb Stark, but I am Team Sersi, which you will never hear me say because I would never cheer for Sersi in Game of Thrones.
Right?
So that's hard. This is like I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis here. Team Sersi. I mean, that's it. That's it. You go, Pete.
I'm definitely Team Sersi, because why are the Celestials using people power or being power like there's some special energy that we have? Like put your Celestial in a sun. There's 100,000 much times more energy in a sun. Put him in a sun somewhere where there's no planet around it, and he doesn't have to kill anybody when he's born, and you can still make a bunch of more planets. So,
or a planet without intelligent life on it, right?
well, no, but the point of all this was that they need the intelligent life to
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't make sense anyways, but I'm Team Sersi. Rebecca.
Sersi.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think I had to elaborate.
You're on your own on this one, Derek.
Well, and it was because Ajak had enough of obliterating people. She had been through this lots of times, and it's one of those for her. It's just finally enough obliterating people, but she doesn't. That doesn't mean.
So
that
how
this
come
thing
she
is
remembers and nobody
special.
else does?
Because she's the boss. I don't know.
I don't know.
She was the main
Because
Eternal.
what's his name let her keep her memories, I guess.
Which is huge.
Yeah. See, we can't even remember his name. The red celestial guy.
Ryan says Team Sersi. There isn't enough money in the world to be on teams with Sprite.
I didn't think I didn't think Sprite was that bad for me. I think it was just they didn't character develop. Oh, I like that. Pete.
It was bad writing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Writing.
It wasn't the actress or anything.
No, she was fine. She was fine.
They just didn't develop the character, so she wasn't to me. She wasn't unlikable. She just wasn't anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Pete, I'm gonna go for you on this one. If you had to choose, and this is one that could go kind of both ways, would you rather be an Eternal or a mortal?
I don't know. I'm always going to go with I'd rather be Eternal. I've already been Immortal. It's pretty good, but I'll try being an Eternal and being around for 7,000 years and having to occasionally fight a deviant or have some kind of superpower. I'll go with that. So that's my choice. Rebecca?
I'm tired of being immortal, but I would not want to do this forever. So I think I would have to just continue being immortal so that it eventually ends soon. But Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to stick with being mortal. I just think that if you have close relationships with people and then everyone around you is dying, that would be torture for thousands of years and then centuries and then infinity. So I just can't imagine that. And then in this movie in particular, you're also getting your memory wiped each time. So each time you let a world get destroyed, and so it just seems that part just seems awful and kind of torturous. What about you, Derek?
I'm 100% gonna be immortal. The whole watching people, everyone you ever loved for cared about die, and knowing you're going to outlive everyone you've ever known. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie Bicentennial Man. Features Robin Williams. I think it was a 1999 movie. He's an android that works through the years for different family members of the same family and ends up falling in love with one of them. Eventually he becomes human enough through different artificial organs and fluids, causing him to actually die, which he wanted so that he would not have to lose any more of those he cared about. Not his finest work by any means, but to me, it got the point across. It is on Buena Vista. It was a Buena Vista Pictures release, so it's, to me, it's probably coming on Disney Plus one of these days. It's not necessarily worthy of a vault, but to me, I remember it. So yeah, I'm going to be immortal. I'm going to be mortal. Kate?
Well, dang. I was going to say, I want to be eternal, and I want my power to be where I can heal people, and I can heal, and I can make people who are really sad not as sad, or make people who are angry not as angry. But
you want to be a madrigal.
Didn't you do that with? Yeah, didn't you do that with Encanto?
With the empanadas or whatever.
The empanadas.
Madrigal.
What?
The mother's power is she heals people.
Yeah, but
I think that's a physical.
You weren't on the
thing.
show, but you sent that to somebody because they said it on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, listen, if you ever ask me what kind of powers I want, that is what I will always say. But then one of you jokers coming all up in here saying, "Oh, I gotta watch my loved ones die every century and then have my brain wiped." Like, well, I don't want any of that. So no, I don't know. I just want to go hang with Rob Stark.
See, I'll get over it.
I'm sure your wife and family will love to hear that.
If I knew that,
but then I get to hang out with my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids, and
if I knew that I was doing good,
you might not be able to have kids if you're eternal.
That I would be eternal.
And if you did, would they be eternal also?
Yeah, you never know. I don't know if it's a genetic thing passed down. Remember, they're just robots.
They're robots. So yeah.
That's the other part. I'm sorry, I need to say that. That's the other part of this movie that was really dumb, is that it turns out they're robots.
We're just robots with memories. Yeah.
Well, I think Kingo says we're just robots. I don't think they're actually.
They're created.
But
they're created by the Celestial, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not robots. He's basically a god. I mean, he created them, but they could still be,
in my mind,
because they can still be killed. They're not really Eternals, right? We watched 3 of them die. True. More of them have died than Avengers.
No, they're still eternal, but they're not. They're not indestructible.
They're not immortal. They're just eternal.
Yeah.
So Ryan says he wants to be an eternal, but for like 100 years. So yeah, that doesn't really work.
You don't get to pick. You don't get to pick how long you get to be an eternal.
Nick imagining Sprite being trapped in puberty for 6,000 years, the never-ending middle school years.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Good. Steve says mortal, want to retire at some point.
Right, Steve.
Ed says, think how much you could invest that money and just wait a couple hundred years on the stock market, and you'd be a billionaire.
Yeah. Ed, if you're immortal, you get to see the release of Windows 42, or as Nick says, finally the opening of Tron at Disney World.
Oh, right.
Ryan says, if Eternals has shown us anything, Kate, good is a matter of perspective. So, okay, as we always do when we watch a movie, we're going to do Pixie Dust ratings. Kate, we're starting with you. How many Pixie Dust cups out of 5?
2.5.
I decided to give this a 2 because I didn't mind watching it once, but I will never watch it again.
I am going to be the outlier for this little graph that we're putting together. I'm going to give it a 4.
I'm going with Pete on this one. He and I are simpatico on pretty much everything on this movie. I'm giving it a 2, except maybe Angelina Jolie. I give her a thumbs down, and I think he gives her a thumbs up. So I'm a 2.
She was okay.
I'm a 0.5.
Oh, wow.
And the only reason it's that high is I like some of the costuming, some of the visuals, some of the diverse casting, but it cannot redeem a horrible story. So
I would rewatch it. Like I would voluntarily sit down and watch it again.
You cannot pay me enough money to rewatch it.
Rebecca, it's okay to like something that other people don't like.
It's okay.
I know.
It's
I'm just saying
fine.
that's why.
I will say this, Rebecca. I did not want to go rewatch this, but I do want to rewatch this partly because I want to pick up on the stuff that you picked up on Angelina Jolie's character. I do want to rewatch it because of that. So.
Her representation of trauma was beautiful.
Okay. Ryan's and Rebecca, I will give you that one. I did like the trauma her representation of trauma was good. Ryan says a 2.5. Steve says a 2.5. Ryan says a 4. He's impressed. Vicky says a 2.5. Gina's a 2. Ryan, Rebecca, what do you equate this movie to with other Marvel movies?
Oh yeah, what's it on par with? Yeah.
What's it on par with?
I would say Captain America's Civil War. Or any of the Avengers or the first 2 Avengers movies.
That's pretty high praise.
Yeah, it's not.
I think because I love the first Avengers movie.
It's not going to beat Ragnarok. It won't beat Infinity War. And it won't beat Endgame. Those 3 are my top in order. But it's on the next tier for me.
Because you gave the original Avengers a 4.5. So
that's pretty on par.
That's pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty close.
Okay. And Nick says the movie's a 3, Angelina's lips a 5. So, okay. Now, we've talked about Eternals. Marvel. Now we're going to go Star Wars. So we're going to drop, because they haven't watched it, we're going to drop down Kate and Sam, and we're going to bring in Gina.
Hi.
Hey,
Star
Gina.
Wars time. Hi.
Yes, it is.
I'm very excited for Star Wars time. And I know not everybody loves Star Wars like I do. So
I do.
Okay.
We do. We love Star Wars.
So, Gina, I'm going to go with you. Is Boba Fett getting soft?
So, in this episode...
And you can go either the episode, you can either go the person or the series.
Right.
So,
I'm going to go
going soft.
In this episode, Boba Fett was a softer side of Boba Fett. And I don't know if that I appreciated it. With, I'm going to get his name wrong again, I got to look it up. Chrysanthemum, he's our Wookiee. With him being able to go in there and pull him out of the tank really upset me. And I was like, where are the people? How come he's not fighting? Like, it just really upset me that he wasn't as strong. And then the crime lord situation, I feel like he's not being a crime lord. I feel like he's being a district attorney. I don't know. I'm very shocked by Boba Fett not being bounty hunter Boba Fett. On the other hand, he has seen some stuff with the Tusken Raiders, but I feel like in this episode he was softening up. So that's just my 2 cents. Pete, what about you?
Yeah, there was some weakness in this episode. I actually kind of liked the fight with the Wookiee because even though, again, it made no sense that like you're just going to leave him in this tank unguarded. He's the warlord or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was still better than the probably worst chase scene in the history of Star Wars when 3-4 little Vespa bikes are chasing.
And I would say the worst chase scene ever. See, to you they were Vespas. To me, they were ECVs from Disney World.
It was bad. That's true.
So bad. Was I the only one? I said to my wife, I'm like, are they going like 10 miles an hour here? This is like the slowest. Like, can't you at least speed up the camera so it looks like they're going fast? I didn't understand that. I had no issue with the gang, even though they were kind of like an 80s theme gang.
It was
if you watch a lot of 80s movies, they would always have these theme gangs that would all dress alike in
I
movies.
Actually said that really fit in because I'm actually going through my head. I'm okay. Oh, this happened this would be 1987. So this is actually okay. I was okay with them because in my brain, I'm like, okay, it's 1987. We're okay.
Yeah.
I did do that.
And yes, as I see Steve mentioned, the scooters reminded him of Back to the.
Yes.
That scene was 100%. a little Back to the Future too.
Yes.
So first episode was okay. Second episode pretty good. This episode, yeah. So we'll see. This series is not it's not up there, but it's not bad. I'm gonna beat Gina to the punch. At one point, the lady
mechanic.
from the mechanic from Mandalorian like walks by in the background.
You saw her? You saw her after I told you. Good.
So I thought that was kind of cool that they just had her just kind of as background scenery. But overall, the episode I didn't think was particularly good. But I will say one good thing about it: less flashback. So
True.
Yes.
Rebecca.
I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, and I've been honest about how I felt about this whole show. Still don't really have a clue of what's going on. Just kind of going along for the ride on my, I guess, a Vespa. I know what that is. I've heard of them before, but
They exist.
I, to be fair, was on my phone for some of it, but it did shock me when the Wookiee. I didn't think anybody else would talk about it because that was the one part that I thought was the coolest to visually see was the Wookiee like just reaching into that tank. You know, that's been like a symbol for the entire series so far is him going back to this like recovery tank and, you know, reliving these nightmares of his past and things like that. So it was kind of cool to see that like bubble of his being like destroyed. I think that could be maybe a foreshadow for like the bounty hunter Boba Fett may be coming out now because of that bubble being burst. I look, as a non-Star Wars fan trying to make connections to future things, I'm just going out on whims here. But I thought that visually that was the most appealing part of the show because in my head that's what is the original Wookiee? His name?
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Yeah, that's just a dyed-haired Chewbacca like attacking him, and you don't ever see that happen with original Chewbacca. So it was cool. I liked that visual aspect of this episode, but overall, it's still just not grabbing my attention, unfortunately.
Yeah, to me, this is not the same Boba Fett that was in the original trilogy. The harsh, abrupt, stoic character is not in this show. Even the actor playing Boba Fett thinks the character's talking too much. During shooting, I saw an interview. During shooting, he'd try to give his lines to his co-stars and try not to let the director know it was going to happen at least once. He prefers the mysterious, quiet side of the character. As far as the series, to me, it's getting to a point of put up or shut up, which, you know, is ironic because he's talking too much. So
you want him to shut up?
Yeah, I do not understand the point of episode 3 other than to reintroduce the Pikes and the Scooter Squad. Why have we gone through 2 episodes of him and the Tusken Raiders only to have them killed completely? Why was that even there? I mean, I understand it's going to be, you know, character development, but why did we waste half the show so far on that?
Yeah, because I thought sure the Tuskens were going to come back in later, but now it seems unlikely, right?
And to me, you know, at least it was the shortest episode so far.
That was the speech? It was dumb. It was obvious. It was pointless. It was short. I loved it.
And I'm sorry, that's all I could keep thinking about was and I didn't love it. To me, it's getting really close to the point of not really wanting to watch the rest of it.
The one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to go to that Fennec Shan part. Where was she? What took her so long? That was the other thing. Maybe she's playing both sides because that whole scene was just so bizarre to me. I'm like, first he's getting ripped out of the thing, and then he's turning soft, and then it was a whole thing for me.
But if she was off duty, I mean,
yeah, it didn't. That part didn't make sense, but I thought at least that action scene was a good action scene versus
right. No, it was just
because like the second episode, the train sequence was actually a really good action scene.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if the show isn't as good as we want it to be, at least if the action scenes are good, we can be entertained by it. But like that Vespa chase was like
no action. No,
I don't know how anyone. Like, I don't know how the Robert Rodriguez could go back and look at it and go,
this is good. Good enough.
Yes, we need to keep that in there.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
As my wife said, pay more for the CGI next time.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Ryan says the only thing he has to say about the episode is the chase scene was the literal worst. Vicky does say she does like short episodes, so I will say the short episodes have if this was an hour long of
it would
what
be
happened,
too much.
I wouldn't have. I don't know that I could have finished it.
It would have been as bad as
So.
Eternals in terms of the length of the time,
Yeah,
for sure.
so.
For sure. The dragging.
All right. Yeah. So it's
Poor
gonna,
Rebecca.
I think we're kind of at the point where I think we're all kind of agreeing that Boba Fett something needs to happen.
He needs to become the
And-
crime lord that he is instead of this district attorney.
Yeah. Either become the crime lord or
Yes.
sell out and go the bounty hunter route, or
Something.
something needs to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
now we're going to bring Kate back in, and we're going to bring Sam back in now that she's, done yawning. And
I haven't watched, but I will catch up and watch so that I can be in on the conversation next week.
okay.
Sounds good.
And as I said, it's a short episode, so you've
Yeah.
only got to devote about half an hour to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had watched 1 and 2, so it's easy to catch up. I'll
Oh.
only have to watch
Yeah.
2 this week.
Next week, we have Boba Fett episode 4, and Kate has chosen our vault. Kate, what are we watching next week?
We're watching The Rescuers Down Under.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yay.
and as we always do with the
A
vault
sequel.
shows, we will have trivia.
Nice.
And some of the discussion in the background was that, do we want to do the original Rescuers? But as Kate herself said, it's sad and kind of depressing.
Very
and scary, and scary for kids.
Yeah.
So this
really
may be one
sad.
case where the sequel may be a little bit better than the original.
Yeah.
So we shall see what's going on with that.
I'm going to have to rewatch it. I don't remember it.
Oh, it's very
Daniel
sad.
Trejo riding the Rancor.
That was actually
I do have to say, anything that makes Danny Trejo Star Wars canon is kind of cool.
true.
Yeah.
True.
And it makes the scene with where the Rancor handler cries over the Rancor dying. The
Yeah.
fact that
Right.
The Rancor's imprint on the person the first human that they see, which how he hasn't seen Danny Trejo yet, I'm not sure. But anyway,
Wonders.
makes it more sense. So,
Yeah.
and Kate, you've got Vicky says, yay, Rescuers Down Under, and Ryan says
Yay.
she's looking forward to next week.
Yay.
So, with
Great.
that, guys, please, if you have other suggestions on vault shows, we have a couple coming up from our audience, but we'd always love to see more. Please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe, share, get the word out there. We're growing slowly, but we'd always love more people out to, come and be a part of the Platooners. And yes, I've actually accepted that is what we're going to go with the name. If you aren't
It's
listening,
better than pee-pee.
I
Yeah.
prefer,
I was just gonna say.
I prefer
Really
two.
good
I
question.
prefer 2 knees over 2 ners, but
The tunette.
potato,
All us
potato,
girls.
potato.
So if you can't listen to us live, we are on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, basically anywhere you can get a podcast. We are there. And then give us those 5-star reviews, guys, please. That's how more people can come to hear us. With that, everyone, I think we have reached the end of talking about what we're going to tonight. So I'm going to say good night. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @PlusPlatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.